Welcome to our first podcast. This is Keeping It Real in Real Estate. I'm Christine McConnell, your host with Alex Holleen. We are here with Julie Jarmiolowski with the K Grant Group, who is our very first guest. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be your first guest.
We're excited to have you.
So, Julie, we've been working all together for quite a while now. What originally kind of was the way you got into real estate?
I got into real estate coming here to Arizona not knowing a single soul. I had spent the previous 30 years building a business in Seattle, Washington, where I helped people transition from one job to another. I owned a staffing business with 9 offices up there and thought I wanted to retire, but it didn't work out as well as I hoped it would. I needed a little bit more interaction, and I didn't know anybody, right? So I sat down with a pad and I drew this little T-square and decided to look and see what skill sets I thought I had and what careers I thought might be kind of interesting and how they paired. Everything went to real estate. So I thought, what the heck? I went and I talked to several realtors that own brokerages here, and they said, oh yeah, you can make your own schedule, you work the hours you want, no pressure, just it's an easy kind of a job. So I thought, okay, that'd be kind of like retirement, and so I went to real estate school and got in it, and they lied. They did. You don't work your own hours, you work your clients' hours. But it's still the 30 years that I spent in staffing helped me tremendously because I spent 30 years helping people transition from one job to the other, negotiating the best deal with their next employer, helping my first time job seekers, just like my first time home buyers, find the best opportunity, right? How do you go for your very first interview? What do you wear? What do you say? What do you write down? The same thing that we do for our buyers, right? So it was a perfect transition for me.
So for when you first got into it, obviously a lot of similar connections with your previous career. Was there anything that you didn't realize when getting into it that you had to learn besides obviously the 20-hour work weeks not being true?
When you go to real estate school, they don't really teach you how to be a realtor. It's insane. So when I got out of real estate school, I interviewed with 13 different brokerages to decide which one I wanted to go with. And I ended up going with Keller Williams. Keller Williams had probably one of the better training programs out there, and immediately found the most brilliant mentor I could. And to this day, 9 years later, I still call her when I get stuck, right? When I have something that's outside the scope of what I normally do, I give her a call. And so I think that people have a preconceived idea about being a realtor, that it's like Vanna White, here's the kitchen, here's the bathroom, this is a bedroom, right? It's not quite like that. And so you need a lot of different skills. And so knowing that and being able to pull from that was something I hadn't really anticipated. I guess I kind of thought it was a Vanna White job. And it's all worked out great. I think it's all good.
Okay, so Julie, how would you describe the current market right now in real estate?
Absolutely insane.
Right?
If you'd asked me that question 2 years ago, my answer would have been exactly the same, but it was a different kind of insane, right? Now we have clients that are our buyer clients are they're nervous. They don't know what the future holds for us. We have interest rates that are higher than they were 2, 3, 4 years ago. We have a political system currently that is a little uncertain. We don't know which way it's going to go. We have tariffs that are scaring people. We have an insane stock market up and down and all around. And we don't know, a lot of our buyers don't know if they're going to have jobs tomorrow, right?
Right.
So right this second, we're seeing a lot of people sitting on that fence.
With that being said, do you have an opinion whether we're in a buyer's market or a seller's market?
I think right this moment we are more in a buyer's market. I think buyers have more influence than they've had in years. to be able to go in and negotiate price and various concessions. I think a buyer that is savvy today can go in and make one heck of a deal. We all know that interest rates go up and interest rates go down, right? And we know that eventually we'll find a nice happy point with our interest rates. But if you're able in this market where we've seen an enormous increase in housing prices, if you're able to get in and get a really good deal now and write it out, I really sense that you're going to be okay.
I agree with that 100%.
Do you? Good.
I do.
Good. Well, that means a lot to me because you're in the know.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more negotiations in terms of seller concessions as well.
Yeah.
So they may not have the opportunity in 6 months or another year.
Well, if you think back, Christine, to 2-3 years ago, those poor buyers, they didn't have a say.
No,
right?
No, they did not.
They were paying what the seller was asking and then some.
Right. Absolutely. Well, that's good to hear.
So do you still think that the seller's market is as strong as it was last year, maybe 2 years ago, or do you think it's softened up and it's going to complete buyer's market?
So I'm not certain that I would say it's 100% a buyer's market. It's a lot more buyer's market than it was. We are seeing sellers making some pretty significant changes in their pricing, lowering their pricing. I work a lot in the condo market, and in the condo market, we're seeing some significant decreases, right? Some of that has to do with our sellers still living 3 years ago and wanting to get the same price that their neighbor got, right? And I get that, right? And it's a comp, right? My neighbor got X, I ought to be able to get X. But in the market that we're in, we are seeing sellers reevaluate that because sellers are a little bit unsure also, the same way that the buyers were, of what the impact of the tariffs and our current political situation, et cetera, are. And some of them want to or need to get out.
No, it's beautifully well said. With sellers just loving their home. They're kind of jealous about 2 years ago having that nice sales price. So how do you go about talking to your sellers, communicating with them to not overprice their listing, to not ruin the first few days of going on market?
So we spend a lot of time with our sellers educating them about what the market currently is. We have great tools provided to us like the Cromford Report, where we're able to go back and look at statistical charts and graphs and all kinds of lines to show them what's coming, what's been, et cetera. We're also, I guess because we're in the market, we're able to share that with them. Mm-hmm. And it's not our job to tell the seller what to price their home at. It's our job to provide them with the data in order to make that decision, right? And so if a seller tells me that they really want to go in $100,000 over what I think the value of a property is or what I think they're going to walk away with, will I support that? Yeah, 9 times out of 10 I will. But not before seriously educating about the fact that this is likely where you're going to end up. And it's going to take us a little bit more time. If you feel like you need to sell this place in the next 60 to 90 days, then we need to probably be a little bit more realistic about our price and start here. Mm-hmm. And I guess I'm super duper blessed. Most of my clients are really bright and they totally get it.
You do have a lot of bright clients.
I do. They seriously get it, don't they?
Yeah, they do get it. Yes. Yeah.
Do you see there's a major difference when you sell a single family house versus when you sell either a condo in Optima or just a different type of condo within Scottsdale?
When you say difference, what do you mean?
How you prepare the listing, either talking in terms of when you want the type of buyers you want and just how to market it as well.
We have a marketing machine at the K Grant Group that is pretty impressive and I think fairly unique in the industry. So we have a targeting method that goes out to people that are looking specifically for condos or specifically for single family homes. The preparation for the listing probably isn't a whole lot different. It really isn't. Yeah.
On the buyer side, Julie, how do you determine what price point to show your clients? And are you seeing a lot more cash today?
So starting with the first question, the very first tool that I have, and I hate to call you a tool, but I have my clients reach out to Christine, honestly, because Christine goes in and she's brilliant at asking the questions that are sometimes a little bit sensitive, right?
Yes.
When you're talking to people about their money, regardless of whether their bank account has 10,000 or 100 million in it, talking about money is sensitive. When I hand them over to Christine, I know that I've never had anybody come back and have a problem with answering the questions. And they feel like they've been taken care of. The service is just beyond approach. So I think having them meet with you first and having you evaluate what the real is the very first step. And without that, we spend a whole lot of time out kicking tires. And then we come in with an offer and it's like, oops, we can't afford this one. Right?
Yeah.
And you never want to do that. That's just agony for everyone,
everybody,
especially our clients. And it's our job to take care of them. Is there more cash? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything, not everything, but a good portion of what I've done this year, probably 90% of what I've done this year is cash.
That says a lot right now.
Yeah, it does. Well, and it says two things, which I think is kind of interesting. A, that there's that much cash out there, but the people that have the cash are buying, right?
Yes.
These are discerning people that have a little nest egg stashed away, and they feel certain enough about the future that they're taking their money out of their banks or stock portfolios or whatever, and they're investing it in real estate. My perception is that ought to be like a huge message to the rest of us. It's okay. It's okay. It's a good time to get in the market and not wait for the perfect rate or the perfect time or the perfect whatever your perfect is. But that the people that are buying now with cash are making a statement to the rest of us. This is a great time to be a buyer.
Absolutely, because they are taking their money out of their portfolios or out of, their savings accounts to do this. And if you're not buying now because you're waiting for rates to come down, when rates do come down, what's going to happen?
Everybody's going to be a buyer.
Right. And it's going to drive home prices up. You're not going to have the negotiations you have now. You're going to start seeing appraisal waivers and all the things that we saw, a few years ago.
Exactly.
And with that, let's talk about the Optima.
Okay.
Because I know that you are the Optima. You've worked the
Thank
Optima for, I believe, over 8 years now, quite a while.
Yeah.
So tell us about the Optima.
I love the Optima. I love the Optima concept. I love the design. Mr. Hovey has done a beautiful job here in Arizona with the Optima products. There are currently 4 Optima products that are alive and selling. And I think they just broke ground recently on the 5th, which will be Optima McDowell Mountain. I work a lot out of Optima Camel View, and that's a complex with 700 units. And if you're not familiar with Optima, if anyone out there is not familiar with Optima, it's the place that's just north of Fashion Square with all of the cascading flowers and plants. It's just gorgeous. And it's just it's a own little city almost, right?
Yeah.
And we found, it was funny even during COVID that you found that little city had its own little rhythm. And I would walk around inside the courtyard, and people would be sitting at the little tables with 2 chairs, and they had the wave down. And they didn't really get too close to talking to one another, but they had the wave down.
Yeah.
But we have products that when I first started working Optima, to sell $1 million condo in Optima, I thought was like, woohoo, big time, right? Now we have products in Optima Camel View over $3 million. So,
Wow.
and I think the numbers that we're hearing for Optima McDowell Mountain is the product starting at $950 a square foot. So it's a high-end luxury opportunity and product, but they are cities within a city. They're just such a dynamic environment.
Well, and I know the three of us got to have a little private preview of the new Optima. Can you tell us a bit about that?
That's a really exciting project. That project is on 22 acres, which is double the size of Optima Camel View, or maybe it's more than double. Close to.
Yeah.
And it's going to have 1,300 units in 6 buildings. As of today, they're projecting that there will be 2 buildings for sale and 4 will be rentals. That's subject to change based on market demand, I guess. Mm-hmm. They'll have restaurants there on the ground level, retail on the ground level. Some of the photos we saw, I don't know if you guys saw them because I think we were in separate rooms during this thing, but
yeah.
Some of the photos we saw showed pickleball courts in the main courtyard, just a whole outdoor living kind of environment. It's going to have the same architectural style as the other Optimas do, with the hanging gardens and the lush landscaping. One of the things that they have, and I can't remember the size of it, but it's the largest water retention
system in the whole U.S.
Yeah, is that crazy?
That's amazing.
Yes.
And that, like, if you watered your plants on the 8th floor, let's say, and some of that water trickled down the drain, it was going into that water retention that they were constantly, they were building this ecosystem that was just amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So move in at that will be, they're starting to take reservations today.
Uh-huh.
So anybody out there looking, let us know if you'd like to see it. And I think move-in is scheduled for 2027.
Okay. Is that the first move-in?
First move-in.
Okay.
First move-in. I'm not sure about the rental because the rental buildings, that building that you see on Scottsdale and Mayo, that one's a rental building, the one that's almost finished.
Okay.
And they just broke ground next door to what will be the first condo building. But first condo building move-in is 2027.
And what a great location.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great for everybody, whether you live in Phoenix, getting to the airport, if you come here for golf or baseball, anything that you come here for, it's such a dynamic environment.
It really is. So my question, and I'm an Arizona native, so it might be a little biased, but with all the $1 million and cash investors buying real estate, Optima, this 10-year project coming to Arizona in Scottsdale, do you think Arizona is unique within the 50 states of real estate? That it's a better opportunity to buy here than it is other cities? Because I have recently seen a lot of people moving here. What do you think about that?
We have so much industry coming to Arizona. We've had an opportunity here over the last decade to have politicians working for us to bring business to our state. I think a lot of the contracts that were signed in 2016, I want to say, and we're just now seeing those people bringing their entire corporate offices here as a result of that footwork that was done almost a decade ago, right? And I think because of that, we're positioned to be just a dynamite state. And so whether you're an investor or you're looking for the best place to live, and I can say that because I've lived in a number of places in my lifetime, and I can't imagine living anywhere else but here, ever. The blue sky, there is nothing like it. But I think that with our economy positioned where it is, and everything that is coming to us with, I mean, the people that are over off of the 303, what chip
all
makers.
the manufacturing chips coming to town.
Yes, exactly.
Mesa Gateway getting the remodel.
Oh my gosh, and the IT sector that's moving here, right? So we are just growing by leaps and bounds. And whether you decide you want to live in Scottsdale proper or Phoenix proper, out in Gilbert's super hot right now, right? Mm-hmm. There's so much land mass here and so much opportunity for you to have a house or condo of your dreams. And that's the coolest part, is that you can live any lifestyle you want.
Yeah, we're so lucky and blessed to be living in the state. And like Alex, I'm a native as well. And just to see how much the city has grown, you could eat out every night at a different restaurant, and you can still not eat the same restaurant twice.
I know. It's one of the best things about living here, right? Stanley and I are super foodies.
I was going to say, you are a big foodie, yeah.
We actually travel to eat. And so being here in Scottsdale is just a true blessing from that perspective, because you have people that also enjoy that level of life. And so you have people that you can be with that groove on going to Monarch for one of their world-class dinners, or my favorite's Hillstone, probably, for an everyday kind of a deal. But there's just so much going on and so much activity. And you two are quite rare in that you're natives, right?
Yeah.
So for those sellers out there that are contemplating whether they should list their home or not, what are some tips that you might give them to, when is the right time? Is there a right time? Like summer, we're coming upon summer. So is it a good time to list your home, or would you recommend waiting?
That's a tough question. I think it's going to depend on the subdivision that you live in, the area that you live in. We used to see a mass exodus on March 31. There was like a caravan leaving the city. And so you knew that you didn't want to put your house on the market in the summer. And quite frankly, a lot of people will take their homes off market the end of April, the end of May, and leave it off until sometime in late August or early September. Some people still live by that. But because we've seen such a big influx of new business moving here, people that live here not as snowbirds, if you will, but full time, they need a home. And so, do you want to miss out on that? It's a real catch-22.
Right.
Your audience is not as big in the summer here as it is other times of the year. I mean, we start. In my world, I think I start high season October 1, and my high season goes through the end of April, sometimes pushing into May, depending on how bad weather is in the northern states. But summer doesn't tend to draw the snowbird types, right, which is a big part of our economy here. But because of all of the industry coming in, I would seriously take a look at the numbers and what my expectations were and what subdivision I was in.
I was going to say, yeah, because like you said, it depends where you live, because certain areas are going to have more snowbirds than others.
Sure. Absolutely.
So if somebody's looking, what would you tell a seller today what they need to do when it's time to list their home? Like, what are some of the things you recommend for a seller to do to market their home today?
So first of all, in my world, of course, I'm going to say this, right? The seller has to find a highly qualified and competent realtor to help them. We've all lived through the last year where the world has been told that you don't have to have a realtor. Well, honestly, you never had to have a realtor. But if you're going to take one of the biggest assets that you're ever going to have in your life, and you're going to sell it and or buy something else, don't you want somebody on your team that really knows what they're doing? I think so.
100%.
Yeah. And so once you found that realtor that resonates with you, that understands your goals and is able to speak your language, it's a personal thing selling a home, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You really want somebody, you're going to talk to this person, hopefully at least weekly, if not daily sometimes.
I was going to say, I'm sure it's daily most times.
A lot of times it's daily. You want someone you like, but you also want someone that's competent. So you want to look at their track record. You want to see who they are, right? Once you found that person's going to come into your home, and they're going to walk through your home with you, and they're going to evaluate your home. Hopefully that person is able to be honest with you. We all take our homes very personally. We picked out each and every little item in our home, and we own it, right? But you kind of have to step back from it, allow your realtor to walk through it with you, and be honest about the orange shag carpet. It's not going to work, right? And what do we need to do to declutter it? What do we need to do if you're not going to be living there? I can tell you that I think staging is one of the best investments that you can make, right? Having a professional come in and set the stage so that when the people walk in off the street to see your home, they see, wow, I have to live here, right?
Yeah, they need to be able to visualize it.
Totally. Yeah. And that curb appeal.
Oh, 100%.
All of those things are super important. Your realtor is going to, of course, help you set price by sharing comps with you and sharing the market analysis that we talked about earlier. I think those are the primary key points of getting your house ready to sell. You want to declutter. You want to get rid of personal photos. I know that you want to have the grandkids out on the shelves, but we want people to think about what their grandkids are going to look like on that shelf, right? And not get stuck with what yours look like. So I think all of those things are really key to being able to get the price you want and being able to move your home as quickly as possible. Then you want to go ahead and set the stage for showing your home and making it available. I've had very few, but over my career, I've had a few clients that felt it was an inconvenience to have showings and did not make it super easy. You want to make it like so darned easy to show your home. You want to leave the lights on when you leave and turn the music on and make sure, again, that when that buyer walks through the door, they see this home that's just like, oh my God, I have to own this. Where's my checkbook?
Yeah. Well, especially now with more homes on the market, you need to be flexible.
Yes, totally.
Well, these last 3 months, having so many homes come on the market, what do you think that homeowners don't realize that the realtors have to deal with during these times?
I don't know. I kind of feel like the homeowner's in it with us. I don't know that I feel that the homeowners don't really. I mean, the homeowners know that we follow up with all the people that come through their homes. They know that we are talking all the time with people in the industry, outside the industry, about how do we get additional people to come in and see their home, right? It's a really interesting time right now because we do have more inventory, but because everyone is sitting on that fence over there, we don't have droves of people coming in the way that we did. Do you remember the times when you couldn't get the house on the market before it was sold?
Oh, yes.
Right? And all of our clients lived through that. And now they're wondering, what the heck's going on? Nobody's knocking down my door, right? And so I love my clients, and I'm like over the top communicative, obviously, and I think that they share every pain that I have, that I don't have people coming through, or anything that's happening in the market. We do weekly updates with our clients that are in writing. Just so that they have something tangible to know how many people looked at your home on Zillow, how many people looked at your home on the MLS, how many tours did we have come through, what was the feedback this week, right? So I don't think my clients have an opportunity to not know.
No, I think that's fantastic that you do that because, we're all wondering who's looking at our home, right? How many people are viewing it? How many have come through the open house or just through Lockbox?
Exactly.
So what is, and there could be a few, but what is one funny situation that you've run into when you've shown a house? Like, do you have any, I love to hear the quirky stories.
It's kind of funny. It's also slightly horrific. I was scheduled to show a house. We were running about 45 minutes late. I texted the agent, told him we were running late. Never heard back from him. We walked in the house. The lights weren't on, which is kind of different because it was an expensive home. And normally the agents show up and set those up. And we're going through the house, and I'm turning on the lights for my clients, and we're just walking through the house, and we hear some noises, like bang, 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 right? And I'm like, uh-oh. Somebody's here. And I'm always very concerned about my clients, right? I want my clients to be safe. And so if you ever hear somebody's in the house, like my first thing is, okay, let's move you to the front door. Just stand right here. Be prepared if I'm not back in like 10 seconds. Just go stand out front. Okay, it'll be fine. And so I go back in, and the agent and somebody are in the bed.
Oh my goodness.
For a good time.
Yes.
Okay.
The fun part of that wasn't that was embarrassing for all of us. Right?
Absolutely.
The interesting part was explaining it to my clients. Like, I think we probably need to reschedule this showing.
Yeah. Needless to say, they probably did not purchase that home.
They did not. They did not. But I didn't really explain to them what had happened. I just said we need to reschedule.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good that you didn't do that.
Yeah.
So if you weren't doing real estate, what would you be doing?
I don't know. You know, Christine, I really love what I do. And I don't know that I would want to do anything else right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that may change at some point, but I do have the freedom to work less, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I really love what I do, and I have a supportive family, and so everybody's really 110% there to support what I do. And I love my clients.
I've had the honor to work with you for going on probably 5 years now.
Yeah, exactly.
And it shows every single time I see you, the passion you have for this business, the love and passion you have for your clients. It really shows through, and all your clients love you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely amazing at what you do.
Thank you. And it's the team that I built, right? Having the two of you on my team is like, it just makes it perfect.
It's been a pleasure. You make it easy on us, honestly.
Yeah, it does help to have great referral partners, and you have a great team behind you.
I do. There's 17 of us on the K Grant group, so.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, before we end this podcast, what is a piece of advice that you might give to buyers or sellers today?
Have patience. This too shall change, right? So know what your end game is before you get started, and have patience and confidence in the professionals that you hire.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That hits really hard back to home because I feel like you'll see just no activity for 3 weeks straight, and then one random weekend, everything solves itself.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It does happen.
What is the best way for someone to reach out to you?
I'm Julie Jarmiolowski at the K Grant Group, and my phone number is 602-663-5256, or julie@kgrant.com.
Thank you, Julie.
Thanks for having me here.
Oh my gosh, it's been an absolute pleasure. And it's been so much fun to do this podcast with you. It's our first podcast. Any parting words from you, Alex?
It's been a really amazing time to learn and see how much you give back to your clients and how much you love the industry. I found that recently within the last 2 years, how much I love this industry.
Yay.
And I can't wait to see how far we come within these next 10 years.
Great team.
Woo!